Miss Audrey, are you there? Miss?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Principal, sir?
Yeah.
Please start, please.
Yes.
Yes, we'll start.
Yeah, we'll start now. Yeah, okay. A very good afternoon to all and everyone. On behalf of the Department of Social Work, I welcome you all to the one-day workshop on CV writing for development workers in the development sectors. So before that, I request others to kindly mute themselves. Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, without further delay, I would like to invite Ms. Audrey D. Darling to kindly give us the welcome address. Miss, over to you.
Thank you, Ms. Edda. A very good afternoon to one and all present here. On behalf of the Department of Bachelor of Social Works in Women's College, Shillong, I take this opportunity to welcome each and every one of you to this webinar on the CV writing for development sector. I welcome our principal, Dr. Sylvanus Lamare, Dean of the College, Dr. Mrs. Ppt Nongri, faculties of the department and also the college, and to you, our dearest students, our past students, as well as the present students, to this webinar. I also welcome our resource person for today's webinar, Mr. Ranjan K. Barowa. Thank you, sir, for sparing your valuable time to be part of this webinar. I don't have anything to say on the topic, as you will be sharing and teaching us with your expertise on the topic. So without wasting any more time, I once again welcome each and every one of you, and also thank you to each and every one of you for participating in our webinar today. Take this opportunity to learn and to ask if there are any doubt or any queries. So I wish this webinar a success. Thank you to each and every one of you, and God bless you. Over to you, Ms. Nida.
Thank you so much, Ms. Audrey. Without any further delay, I would like to call our principal, sir, Dr. Sylvanus Lamare, to kindly deliver us the address. Sir, over to you.
Good afternoon, especially special welcome to Mr. Ranjan Kumar Barwa. Okay, so good afternoon and welcome to this session that you'll be having with the students of St. Edmund's College and also the faculty of St. Edmund's College. Good afternoon to the teachers and good afternoon to all the students who are participating in this very important program for your future career. I think we all know the short form of, we call it CV. I think we have to go to the roots of this word. CV, it's a Latin word. It is a short form of a Latin word, curriculum vitae. Okay. And if you really, those for us who have studied Latin, especially for me, who have done up to the degree level on Latin. So I know that this word, curriculum vitae, it means the course of life. So when you write something, when you present curriculum vitae or CV, as we call it, short form, you are actually presenting before a panel of people, before a group of people, your course of life. That means from the date of birth, to your father's name, mother's name, to the degree, and to the other skills that you acquire. There's a big difference between a CV and a resume. Resume comes from the French word, which is a summary of a CV. Okay. So therefore, you have to make a clear distinction when you are presenting yourself to any agency, whether you are presenting yourself, you are presenting to them a CV, or a resume. You have to be very clear with that. Now, before you write your CV, you have to acquire many things. So before, and I mean, you need to acquire, you need to possess a degree, you need to possess skills, certificate of different skills. So therefore, you need to acquire, to possess those so that you can present a good CV. Do not think that a CV can be created overnight. No. As I mentioned, it is a course of life. So whatever has happened in your life, that is what you will be presenting before a group of people who will judge you. Okay? A good CV is in fact that's the truth and the facts about you. You cannot manufacture a CV. Let me just give you an example. We have conducted a number of interviews. And I remember of this particular one case, whereas when a person has written that he likes to listen to music. So I asked what kind of music, what are the kind of music that you know. Then I asked him casually, do you read newspaper? He said, no, that I'm not very much interested. Then I asked him, who is the governor of Meghalaya? Then he gave me the name of the governor at that time, which is MM Jacob, late MM Jacob. I said, correct. How did you know? He said, I learned it from the newspaper. So you see, from there we can catch up what you can manufacture. Okay, so today, while you listen to Mr. Ranjan Kumar Barua, I think you need to learn and acquire the skill how to write a CV. At the same time, keeping in mind that before you can really implement this, you have to look back at all the achievement that you have achieved, right from, let's say, sports in your school days, degrees of your class 10, your class 11, class 12, whatever skills that you have acquired, whatever certificate that you have acquired, those are to be kept in mind. And also at the same time, you have to build on this CV of yours from the degree level to whatever you can move forward. So remember, a CV, once you prepare it, you need to update it, if possibly on a weekly basis. That's what I do. I update my CV on a weekly basis, otherwise on a monthly basis. Remember, if you don't update your CV, it was going to catch up with you one day where you will try to figure out where are those documents, I have attended this, where it is, all that. So therefore, it is important that you, once you create a CV, make sure that you update your CV. And my dear teachers and students, today we live in an age of technology. Your mobile set, while you store pictures, please do store also your documents, because you may need them suddenly. And if it is in your mobile set or your in email ID, there you can straight away get those documents at a click of a button. So I wish all the best to Mr. Ranjan Kumar Barua. Sir, we are very happy that you have spared your time to be with us. And I hope that we will really benefit out of this interaction with you this afternoon. Thank you very much. Wish you all the best. God bless each one of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your kind words. Now, it has given me some kind of an idea that like I should not wait for the last minute to make my own CV, which most of us usually do. Well, without further delay, I would like to introduce to you all the participants, our speaker for today. Well, to talk a lot about our speaker for today, our resource person for today, well, his CV seems very big and the resume seems very lengthy. Well, to sum it up in a few words, I will tell you that he has been an ardent publisher in many local dailies of the Northeast, like the Assam Tribune, the Shillong Times, the Meghalaya Guardian, Nagaland Post, Tripura Times, Arunachal Times, Shanghai Express, and the People's Chronicles in Manipur. His works has been numerous. He has delivered talks on issues related to climate change, during regional consultation on climate change at Mandalay, Myanmar. He has been a trainer for campaign advocacy planning, health at Proshika Training Center in Quetta, Bangladesh. He has also represented India in the Youth Leadership Conference, which was held in Karachi, Pakistan, and has also participated in the Global Youth Retreat at the United Nations Environment Programme headquarters at Nairobi, Kenya. And he has also represented India at the Tunza International Youth Conference held at Dubna, Russia. And he has also, well, there's lots, conducted many workshops and trainings on issues and topics like climate change, good governance, the Right to Information Act, human rights in different parts of Northeast. He has organized more than 1,000 career awareness programs and motivational talks to the youths in different parts of India. And last but not the least, he is also the founder of the Northeast Youth Foundation at Guwahati, Assam. So without further delay, I would like to introduce to our participants today our resource person, Mr. Ranjan Kumar Barwa. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Madam Ada. And extremely, I'm very much thankful to our principal sir, who has given, who has made my work a little easy. It's very good. So whenever I tell you, principal sir is here and a lot of faculty members, due respect to everyone. Whenever I'm invited to some program, I always ask them, please invite me at the last, because by the time I have to speak something, all our learned speakers, they speak many things. So that it's very easy for me to just quickly sum up and run away. But anyways, today's one is very focused. It's on CV writing, where I have been, once again, I thank principal sir, faculty members, the especially the Department of Social Work from St. Edmund's College for giving me this opportunity to share limited knowledge and limited experience I have. I have been trying to work with young people. It's still continuous, it's going on. So sometime if someone asks me what is your achievement, it's really, I feel embarrassed. I say I don't have any achievement yet, but I'm trying to do something with the young people. Hopefully in one day I'll have some good success stories with me. So what I'll do is that I have made a PPT presentation. I request all the students, even the faculty members, initially let us have the presentation first, and then of course we'll go for discussion. So any questions, any queries, or any feedback, we'll try to address as many as questions possible. So without delay, I just want to start with my PPT, and I request while making the presentation, I would love to keep my video in off mode so that there is no connectivity issue, because in spite of everything, sometimes there are some connectivity issue happens. And my request to host Madam Ada and others, in case if there is any technical error, or suppose my voice is not audible, please remind me, so that, because once I use the PPT, I'll be using other screen. So thank you everyone, and I'll just start, and then of course we'll have some discussion. So let me just, I'm keeping my video off and I'm going to share. Okay. Okay. Is it, I think this is visible?
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Okay. Okay. Okay, thank you. I'll just start effective CV. Of course, once again, I thank Department of Social Work, DSW from St. Edmund's College for giving me this opportunity. And let's hope that I'll be able to give you some ideas, some basic ideas. So all the students, my request, please be attentive. You can write certain things. As you are in mute mode, I'm sure all of us are, except me, are in mute mode. Please don't run. Please don't run away. Just be there, because now it's a good way of like bunking the class. Others, please keep in mute.
অনেক বড় হয়ে গেছে
Other participants, please be in mute. In between,
না এই আড়াই
in
বছরের ছিল
between, Madam, please have a look at someone's mic is on, so it's irritating. So please.
Yes, sir. I'm
Yeah,
looking
please.
into it.
Please.
So
Please.
sorry.
Yeah. You can just meet them.
দেখ এখন
Some Roy, I guess.
অনেক সুদাম হয়ে গেছে।
Okay, yeah, now fine. So we'll start. So in the very beginning, I would like to ask all our students, friends, and faculties, are we all happy today? If we are all happy, wherever you are, you can, I request even ma'am, for just 10 to 15 seconds, they can unmute and give a big clap wherever they are. So I request all the students and all participants to give a big clap wherever you are. Louder, it should be loud. Everyone, yeah. Yes, thank you very much. So be attentive in between, you have to clap, you might have to shout. This is because in spite of this pandemic, we are alive and we are attending this session. Thanks to Almighty, thanks to our immunity. See, when we are positive, everything will be positive. So I'm assuming all of us, including me, we are happy. So as the main topic, curriculum vitae, already Principal Sir gave really in a very short span of time. He spoke excellent. He actually, if you have heard him, he made it in a simple, in few words, in few sentences. He had made it very good in an easy way, and it has made my task easy. So we'll go ahead, and I request every students to be attentive so that you don't miss out. And if you have any queries, please note it down. At the end, towards the end, of course, we'll go for discussion. So already sir said CV curriculum vitae stands for curriculum vitae, a Latin word meaning course of life. In simple, if you look at, this is a summary of your experience, skills, and education. Of course, there are some differences between CV and resume, which we'll be discussing. The more we continue with the session, we'll discuss about it. But both the things, just keep in mind these two words, because we are more familiar with something called biodata. Ask your parents or ask your, if some guardians, they would know something called standard form. Whenever they were applying for government jobs, there was a standard kind of form. They had to fill certain things. But now we know, or we call it more as CV or resume. So CV guide, let's see what we need to put inside CV, what we should avoid, what we can keep, and most importantly, how we make it look good. In simple, like we eat different foods, like even say example, chicken curry. But chicken curry comes in front of us in a prepared form. To make it nice, of course, we need different ingredients. The amount of spices you put, even the cook, chef, everything matters. So CV, as Sir was saying, it cannot be manufactured just like that. We need to have certain things. If you have those qualities, what we need to document it. We need to put it in such a way that we get branded. It's with although I'm using a term from corporate world, my meaning is that it is like putting yourself as the best person in front of a particular organization or employer. So just remember what we need. Whenever we prepare, we make our CV. Grammar is very important. There should not be any mistake. So try and include active words like if you are good in communication, if you are good in teamwork. So some those kind of words you can mention so that if I read it, whenever someone read, but because why we need to put active words, because suppose I'm giving an example. Suppose you see an advertisement newspaper saying that there is a vacancy where they need say 5 people, say somewhere in Meghalaya they need 5 individuals, say freshers, and now from even your St. Edmund's College, like if I think your capacity would be like 60 or 80 whatever, so suppose I'm sure all of you are going to apply, but we know that there are other colleges. It is not only advanced giving master of social work or developmental studies. There are many other institutes. Even Tata Institute for Social Sciences here, IIT gives you a course like development studies. So people from different universities or colleges will apply. And now, if suppose I am supposed to check, and I have received say 1,000 CV, now is it? Do you think it is possible for me to read everything? Believe me, it is not possible. So what I would look at, I would look at quickly, and I look at some like bullet points or some keywords which are attractive, where I can shortlist it. So always remember that we have to use some very active words. Then the layout. The best part with this is there is no standard layout written anywhere, but we have to make sure whenever we are making it, place most attractive skills and talents or achievements. Suppose if you have won say something like state level awards, or maybe you have presented a paper in an international seminar, those achievements, or even you are doing something very good in the community, those things can be the top. So that, but there is no standard layout. But yes, once you become experienced I'll tell you an example. Organizations like the United Nations and its different agencies, they give you some certain layout. They will give you, but that it comes once you are little experienced initially, because I'm assuming that most of us, we are students. So most of us, it's gonna be CV for the freshers, for the beginners. So make sure that we put our most attractive skills or achievements in the top, because there is no say standard or specific layout, but it is always good if you can make it attractive. Then of course the presentation, it is important how we present our CV. Presentation needs to be very attractive. You can use bullet points, standard fonts, like don't use something like Comic Sans fonts, which are like funny. Any funny fonts should not be used. It should not be too, when we're using the font, let us look at the standard font like Times Roman, so which are very easily readable. uh, Most important is never ever put any false information. See, people who are taking your interview, or people who will be going through the CV, are really smart people. They are not freshers like you and me. They're experienced. They have been in this field for say decades, more than decades. Because I too have experience, because for many organization I sit in the interview board as a panel. Then even looking at CV, we can make it out whether they are really putting the fact or they're bluffing. So my request to everyone, our CV may be short in the beginning, but don't put anything wrong to look it or make it look good. That will bring very negative impression. And once any negative impression comes in future also, this is going to affect. So let us be use fact and truth when we are putting our informations on the CV. So what the basic things we need to know, you can use say 3 page, 2 to 3 page is very standard for beginners. But of course, once with your experience, number will go on. That's I agree. But in the beginning, like when we are student, suppose it is not only you don't have to only give CV for job. Suppose you want to get into internship, you want to do volunteer with like organizations which are globally known, they will also ask you send a CV. More importantly, even if you are applying for some courses abroad, and you are trying to get scholarships from foreign countries, be it Sweden, say Commonwealth scholarships, or from US or Germany, what they would ask you to send your CV. So we have to make it, keeping everything in mind, size, and then even you make 3 pages, try to focus and try to make the first page more attractive. Okay. Then preferably advised to save the CV in MS Word or in PDF format. I'm sure you are aware of MS Word and PDF. Take care of the bullet points, capital letters, small letters, because sometimes if you use too many of bullet points, that might even hamper the ease of readability. So main thing what we can do is the points like main achievement, like the USP in marketing term we call it unique selling point. like your unique point, which should really make you differ from others. You can highlight it with bullet point. But if you highlight bullet point everywhere, it will somewhere it do not look good. Madam Eda, am I going too fast or it's okay?
It's okay, sir.
Okay,
I'm
thank you very
fine with
much.
it. What about the others?
I'm asking the students, am I going too fast or you think this is okay?
I think it's okay. It's okay, sir.
Fine, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. In case if I go very fast, please let me know. You can raise hand and you can tell. I'll be very happy. Okay. Thank you very much.
Sir, it is okay, but can you make it more louder? Your voice.
Voice. Okay. Okay. Sure. Sure. I'll try. Yeah. Now, when we put, say, let the mobile number or email ID, and interestingly, you can also mention blog. See, I'm sure many of us may not use blog, but if you have some organization, when it is like advocacy and networking campaign, they prefer that should be also active in the digital world, like maintaining your blog or using certain social media for advocacy kind of activities or campaign. So always remember, do not put more than one email. Very simple, put one email and put one mobile. If you put more numbers, it will be confusing. And interestingly, recently it has been observed that recruiters visit the blogs. So it is important that if you post blog link, it should work. Make sure it is working. Then spell check is basic expectation. So whenever you are using MS Word, so we should be very careful because sometimes we try to make correction. Is someone doing something? Is any participant drawing or doing something? Because I can see certain things. So if anyone is doing anything, I request them not to do anything. Okay. So spell check is basic expectation. We should be very careful when we are changing some. So we basically, what do? We right click and we try to make the correction, but sometimes we might end up in a very different word. So you can take help from friends from other stream or other profession after you make it and to cross check it. You can also take help from different mentors. Your faculty members are there from your college, all experienced faculty members. You can take their help so that it looks good. Uh, then we have to ensure that the CV is relevant to the job description. Madam Eda, is there any other, is the presentation is very clear?
I think somebody has scribbled on the PowerPoint.
Yes,
So yeah, please, I request you, please do not do this because it's causing a disturbance to the others.
Disturbance, yes. Please request someone who is doing it, please stop doing it. You can do it later. I know you are very much expert. We'll do it after I finish it. Please do not do it. So, like, you see, whenever we are making CV, because we'll be giving it to different organizations. So always try, say I said there is no standard layout. So if there are many organizations, like you might be applying for a job in child rights organization, you might apply for a job in like organization working for gender rights, you might work for an organization which is working for poverty eradication, you might try to work with some organization working for say clean water. So always ensure that your CV is relevant to the job description of the assignment. This is something, this is interesting, because if you make only one CV and you try to give it in 10 different organizations, then what will happen sometime, it is not appropriate to that thing. So if you want to make very effective CV, also look at, this is what we need to be. These will make you little unique than others. Look at the organization where you are trying to apply. So just we have to connect something, job description and our CV with that. Do not send CV without a covering letter. Most important, sometimes we just send, but don't do it. Whenever you are sending, please write small A4 size, a covering letter, because it is perceived to be the demonstration of the casual approach of the applicant. Preferably avoid putting photograph, but if they ask, if in the advertisement, if they ask send photograph, then yes, then you can attest, there is no problem. But otherwise, it is preferable that you can avoid the photographs. So we are talking about cover letter. Now many might be confusing. What is this cover letter? We are talking about CV, we are talking about curriculum vitae. How come this cover letter comes in? So just to make you understand what is this cover letter means, suppose you are sending a CV to any organization and you do not know any person, or that suppose you are sending your CV to organization based in Delhi, say based in Mumbai, or based in Hyderabad, wherever in India, or even abroad. So once you write this cover letter, that will also give those employer who are reading it, they can link the passion, the way how you are reflecting your writing. So this should be, you should be very very careful when you write the cover letter. So in simple, I will tell you what is a cover letter. Very simple. It's to provide detailed information on why you are qualified for a job you are applying for. Effective cover letters explain the reasons for your interest in the specific organization and identify your most relevant skills or experiences. So make sure that when you design or when you make your CV, at the same time, you also have an effective cover letter. So any doubt till what we have discussed? Any quick any students, I'm requesting, because faculty members others can react at the end, but if any students are confused with any terms or any words, you can just raise hand and please feel free, you may ask.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, you talked about cover letter.
Correct.
It should be like attached in the CV, or like we have to do it, like we
Separate,
have to send it separately.
separate, both things should be separate. Okay.
Okay, okay,
Yeah,
sir. Thank you
good.
so much.
Very
Thank
good.
you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you for your question. So it's like whenever you are writing cover letter, keep few things in mind, like encourage and praise the organization. See, it's like, of course, you have to get the job. So see, certain ideas, creativity, and skills you have to use. So encourage and praise the organization for their work and impact. So my request is that if you are trying to, say you are applying for a job in United Nations, so please go through their website, look at what they have been doing. If they have done something in Meghalaya, if they have done something very exceptional work in Northeast, just read it. And then when you write the cover letter, try to put it so that the moment they read it, they feel that yes, you have gone through it. It's not that you are just casually applying everywhere. You have the passion inside. That's why you are doing some research. So in a very few sentences, explain why you are great fit for that particular job. State why you are interested about the job or the organizations where you are applying, and how the job matches your career objectives, because we have our own objective. So if you can link it, then you have more chances that your CV is shortlisted. See, shortlisting is one thing. CV shortlist doesn't guarantee you getting their job, because why I'm saying it again, say 1,000 students or 1,000 applicants, of course they will apply. So my first task, the people who are in interview, the final panel will sit at last. Initially there would be a committee or people who would go through these cover letters and CV, and they will shortlist. Say if 1,000 people, 1,000 are coming, so you can accept that 50 or maybe 100, not more than that. So our first challenge is how we do not send our CV to recycle bin. All right, it should not be sent to recycle bin like delete button. Instead of that, it must go to the folder of the organization, so that they give us a call or they send us an email for our interview. So state why you are interested about the job, already I said, and how that the job matches your career objectives. In one or two paragraphs, connect your past activities with the requirements listed in the job description. Focus on your most relevant experience, qualifications, and skills. But most importantly, many of us, what we do, we simply pick up what we put in CV and we try to put it on the cover letter. Let us avoid it. Avoid repeating, because already we are putting those points in the CV. So why do we are putting same repeating? So we have to make that cover letter is different and our CV is different. and of course end it by thanking the employer for their time and consideration. So if you are sending a hard copy, it can be standard is A4 page. So you know A4 page is a best one for this cover letter. So now what we are going to put, that's after cover letter, let's move to CV. What we are going to put? Individual's information, we need to put our name, address, preferably if you have a, say, sometime what happened, we are staying somewhere else but our permanent address is different. So in that case you can give like address for communication. Because avoid putting a to address. If space permits you, like within 2 pages or 3 pages, it's all right, but otherwise the address for communication is perfect. Your contact number, make sure you give only one number. Email address, make sure you give only one email address. Date of birth, of course you have to mention. You can mention your hobby or hobbies. If you have interest, you can mention those things. Educational qualification, of course you have to mention. At the same time, if you have other qualifications, now other qualification, like if you have a, say, postgraduate diploma or say advanced diploma, say most of the students I have seen them, they do some course in computer applications. Like one of the most common course is postgraduate diploma in computer applications, which we call PGDCA. There are people who also do some certificate courses from like distance learning mode, be it Indira Gandhi National Open University or other distance learning mode. So those things you can mention, but initially mention the education qualification, and then you can mention about all other qualifications. All right. Then achievement, maybe even you get some national level award or state level. I'll go in details. If you have won any awards, you can mention it. It may be in school level, it can be in college level. Then if you have done any internships, so if you have done any internships, this you can do. Expertise and skills, so your expertise and skills that you have to mention. Now two things, see, work experience and volunteer experience.
Excuse
Now,
me, sir.
yeah,
Sir?
yeah.
There's a request in order to, to remove the drawings and everything on the PPT slides.
Yeah.
Sir, you have to stop sharing. Can you
Okay,
stop
okay, I'll do
sharing
that.
for
Yeah,
just a few
yeah.
minutes?
Sure.
Okay, participants, please bear with us.
Hello, Miss Eda.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we are trying to track this person, and
Okay,
I
sir.
think we should not be allowed in any other program for henceforth. Okay, we will
Okay,
be
sir.
tracking. We are already having the recording, so we will know exactly from which account it has come. Okay.
Okay, sir. So Sir Randolph is working on it, so we just had to stop the PPT presentation.
So can I continue or I have to wait?
So just please wait a bit.
Okay, sure. Once.
Okay, yes, sir. Sir, please, yeah, please share again.
I'm sharing again. Yeah.
Yeah. Extremely sorry to the other participants.
Is it clear now? It's, you can see it's.
Yes, it's clear.
Okay. Fine,
participants, is it clear?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Please continue.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm so
Thank you,
sorry.
madam. Yeah, it's okay. All right. Thank you, ma'am. So students, my dear students, in between, if you have any queries or some terms which you have doubt, you can please feel free. You can ask. I'm going to explain more about what I'm putting here. But in spite of that, if you want to ask, feel free. Anytime you can ask. So I'm talking about work experience and volunteer experience. Then seminars, workshops, or camps, like if you have attended any national seminar or say international seminars, or you attended any workshop. Camps may be, even if you're suppose part of NCC, National Cadet Corps, or if you're part of something like National Service Scheme, if you have attended any such camps, you can mention these things. Then publications, blogs, language, and reference. Sometime, yes, Reference, initially we don't put reference when we make our CV, but some organization might want to. They will specifically mention, please give us one or two reference. In that case, you have to mention. I'll go into details about what I have said. So one most important thing is email etiquette. So let's have a look at my request to everyone. We should be careful with the email address. Make a very professional looking email address, which you should use from now, preferably with your name or surname. Please use as simple as possible. Depends on the availability, because sometimes if you make in Gmail, you may not get exactly what you want. So uh, depend on the availability, we can choose. No casual or unprofessional email address. In case if you reply, sometime what happened, we have seen that you might get one advertisement. I might send it to like 20 or 30 students at one time. If you are replying, make sure you do not reply to all. Check before sending the email. You can write email text body in the what text body that comes, and you can also attach documents in Word format or PDF format. Then qualification certification, we mentioned about that we need to put our qualification. Let's see what are those things. So educational qualification means very formal education, which you can mention from class 10, say what you got in class 10, what you got in class 12 or 10 plus 2. Then you may mention your graduation level thing, BA, BSc, BCom, because I'm sure there might be some students who are not only from social work, but they might be from other backgrounds. So you can mention it. If you have done postgraduates, you can mention it. If you have done further those things like PhD or other courses, higher education, you can mention it. But sometime you may only mention even the highest qualification. If something like, if the advertisement says students coming from or students having degree in social work or sociology, then you can mention the highest, because mentioning MA or MSc means you have passed class 10 and 12. Without passing class 10 and 12, you cannot do PG in, at least in India. So it is understood. But sometimes because it depends on even space. If your space is there, because if you do not have many other things to put, then I have no problem, you can mention it. You can also include other qualifications, like if you have done any certificate course, maybe in computers, even maybe in music, maybe in fine arts, any other courses where you have a certificate or some proof to, you can put it. Even diploma courses. And nowadays during pandemic, not even pandemic, even before pandemic, there were many universities and institutes who is to give some free online courses for 3 months, for 4 months. Of course, due to this COVID-19, it has become too popular now. But I remember I met a student long back. He was in, so he gave, when I was looking at his CV, uh, one of the experience he had from Berkeley, he showed that he did guitar, something on guitar. I was shocked. I asked, how did you do it? He said, I did through online mode. So those things initially, when our CV are freshers, suppose we are very beginner. So if we have this kind of courses to our credit, this will help us to be shortlisted. If you have done such courses, well and good. If not, my request to all the students, you can still start, choose a good course, because that will be, you can add it when you are preparing or when you are modifying your curriculum item. So of course, we are talking about achievement. Even our principal sir also said that achievement even in school level or even college level, this can be mentioned. So I'll just give you a little brief what this achievement might be. So if you have won any awards in national or state award, maybe sports or even other co-curricular activities, if you have got selected to attend in any, say, international or national conferences, if you have made any presentation in seminars, be it in Meghalaya, be it in Shillong, or maybe outside. So it depends on if you have presented as a student. It's not necessarily, many of our students always ask me a question, sir, is it, why should we find only teachers giving a paper presentation? I said, yes, but is there any norms that a student cannot give paper. I have experience when I was in college, when I was in university. I used to go and attend these seminars and try and make some presentation. Because then if I make mistake, I tell teachers, sir, ma'am, this is my first learning, so I might make mistake. So please guide me. So they don't get anything wrong on me, because other teachers and all, they will come with very expertise. They have, unique research paper and all. But for us, it's like I said, I'm writing something from my students' perspective. If you have part with NCC, NSS, suppose if you are NCCC certificate holder, it is always good, it gives because it shows discipline. People who are into these activities like NCC, NSS, basically we do not take part. We think, what is the use of NCC or NSS? But believe me, if you have certificates on this, it shows that you are a very disciplined person. Because any organization, whether in India or abroad, they always want someone who is disciplined, who is very organized. Then if you have won some prizes in like youth conclave, or maybe university competitions, or even college competitions, or even school level, but that should have some credibility. These things you can mention as your achievements or awards. Now we are talking about some word like expertise. Let's see what this might be. Expertise and skills. I'm putting it both together. Expertise and skills. We'll see what are these things. So some of the there may be many, but I'm putting few, like communication, leadership. These words you can reflect. These are the things: creativity, critical thinking, teamwork, time management, report writing, documentation, observation, facilitation, even MS Office, like using MS Word, MS Excel, PowerPoint, because these things are very important if you work in any developmental sector, because you have to make presentation. You need to know how to make an effective PPT, or sometime if you are asked to do a budgeting thing, so you have to quickly know how to use Excel. So generally what happened, most of the students, they give certificates saying that they have proficiency in computers. But again, from my experience in Northeast, I'm telling you, to check and test their knowledge, what we do, we ask them to do some formulas in Excel. And believe me, in my experience, I have seen more than 95% of the students fail. They can't even do it. But they come with a very nice certificate. So those things will be mismatching. So make sure if you are not expertise on certain things, let us not put it. There is no harm in learning, but the harm is not to put any false information. So any doubt on this expertise and skills, my dear students, if you have any doubt or any queries, you can ask. I'll be happy if you have any queries on expertise or so far whatever we have discussed, or we move ahead.
Sir.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Say expertise and skills, can we put in say something related to sports?
You can.
Okay.
But if suppose that will be like, if suppose you have played, example, suppose you have played football, say example, you have played football for your school team, or say you played football for your college team, all right? But that we can put it, but instead of this expertise and skills, because here we'll show more skills which are directly linked to the organization's work. But yes, if you have expertise even in sports, we can mention it. Like even if you have played, if you have been like a part of the school team, you can mention. If you are part of the college team, but if you just say I used to play football, that is not expertise, that is maybe your interest. So interest and expertise, we have to make difference here. In case of expertise, it should be recognized. Are you getting my point?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Any other queries or any quick remark or anything from any other students? Please feel free. Yeah.
Sir, I have one.
Yeah.
Sir, are we supposed to add the certificates along with the CV, or just mentioning it will do in the certificate?
Generally, you don't have to attest. Just you mention, but only thing is don't mention any false information. Basically, those things are they will only ask for CV. So initially, when you are submitting, you are not going to submit those experience certificates. But yes, what they will do, generally what they do, when you go for the final interview, or suppose they call you to their office, that time they might ask for those reference. So you keep it ready. You keep it ready, but not necessarily that you attach with the same file. If they ask, fine. Otherwise, a cover letter and CV with 2 page or 3 page, excellent. All right.
So thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. So we'll move to the next slide. So now work experience. Tell me honestly, or I'm asking to all the students, do you have any work experience being student? Do we have work experience? Yes or
So
no?
if we do internship, even as students, we can do internship. So I guess
Internship is different. Now,
can you,
internship, I'll come again. But I'm asking, do we have work experience? Simple question. Yes or no?
Sir, professional
Yes.
work, no, sir.
Yeah, something like where you, what you had to, suppose if you want to mention on a CV. So in that line, do you think you are having any experience of any work?
Yes.
Generally, most will say no. Generally, most will say no because we are still student, right? So where we have done work. So that is the first thing. We'll think I'm a student. I'm still studying. I'm doing my BSW. I'm doing my MSW. So I have never worked. But now I'll tell you. So let's move ahead. Someone said about internships. Internships, of course, for short time you do it, say maybe for 2 months or 3 months, or maybe even a longer time. Then have you been part or associated with any organization that promotes voluntarily work? Now, this work experience or internship or volunteer, for me, I see that all the students, they do have some work experience. Most of them, in fact, most of them. Now you'll be maybe puzzled why I'm saying it. Experience means, work experience means, it doesn't say that you have to only get money for doing that work. We do a lot of voluntarily work. We are not paid, but that is our experience. Suppose you have done internship, you may not be paid, but some internship they pay also. Okay, all right, but it's not that, because I remember when I did my internship, I was paid. I had good time in Delhi. I was paid well, so I had good time. But I have seen many organizations, they do not pay, but they give you a certificate. They give you other supports which you can mention in your CV. So now suppose field work that you have done, or say block placement that you have done, you can mention it. There is no harm about it. With the organization where you have done it, you can be very precisely, you can mention even the dates, say January to say March, or January to say April. Then you can also write what you have done during that those 3 months. You can be very specific, like whatever you were asked to do, you can mention it. Apart from that, if you have any voluntary activity, say uh, as student, we are associated with many organizations, like if you remember, I don't know, all may not get that experience, but I remember when we are young, organizations like Help Age India, Child Rights and You, they would give us, they would ask us to go for fundraising. When I remember I was doing fundraising for organization like World Vision. My uncle was in World Vision, so we were doing fasting for the day. We do fasting, and then in the evening we raise fund. Those are basically for people with challenges who are staying in or children in crisis on the roads, basically. So many of us are, I'm sure many of you are associated with some NGOs or other civil society organization. Those things you can mention. You can mention as volunteer experience. You don't have to mention as your, you can put it as work experience, then you can make it like field work, block placement, you can mention internship. At the same time, my request is that please mention if you have any volunteer activity. Do not, there is no harm, it may be small or big, not necessarily that even you are doing small thing. Those small things needs to be reflected, because this shows your passion about society. This shows how you have made yourself ready for the profession, and that must be reflected. So if you are volunteer with NSS, like National Service Scheme, there are, I think there are clubs like Red Ribbon Club in different colleges. There are in fact eco clubs inside our campuses. So many of us, we are very active with these clubs and we do some activities. Maybe I'm sure you are experience of doing World Environment Day on 5th June. or say World AIDS Day on say 1st of December. So if you have done those activities and if you are associated with such organization, this can be reflected. Apart from this, if you are engaged with some community-based organization, because we come from say it may be Khasi community or Garo, even Assamese or different communities, in our community, and now we do some social work. We are weekly basis, monthly basis, or weekly basis. These things can be mentioned. And then suppose if you have volunteered in event, like you remember the South Asian Games, which was held few years back. So if you have experience of volunteering in such global events, these will give you very good experience. Then experience from other community services. If you're associated with churches and other even faith-based organization and they have done some, they should do. You might be associated with organizations like YMCA or YWCA, Young Men. I'm sure you know about it. And there are many other similar organizations. So if you are involved in this organization, these things also you can mention. This will be, of course, your work experience, but not paid. So no problem. Don't think that we have to only mention for the work that we are paid. Not necessarily, because we are all freshers. So we may not be paid, but yes, I have given time. If you have given time to the community, means you are passionate. So these things you can reflect, and these are the advantages of getting shortlisted. So just remember, because otherwise we just focus education qualification and certain things, but these small things we missed out. So now you are getting, at least I'm sure many other students will be getting new ideas, and once you prepare your CV, these things will be reflected. Last but not least on this slide, what I'm writing is that experience doesn't mean merely getting paid, as it could be purely on volunteer basis. So if you have such experiences, you may be even associated with your students organization, or like people have been working with organizations like one of the strong organization in Northeast. We can think of Young Mizo Association, YMA. Like then we have different students union who really work on a very grassroots level. Like in Assam, you might be knowing All Boro Students Union. They work in a very structured way with different organizations. So these things we can reflect if you are associated with such organization. Yes, apart from that, you may be also associated with some other organizations. There is no harm. But again, I request, do not put any false information. If you are not associated, don't put it. If you have not done any activities with your community, please do not write it. Let us be little honest, because if you have not done anything, we can start. We can do it from today. We can do it from tomorrow. But no false information. All right. So any doubt with these experience issues? Any questions on these experience things? Any students wants to ask anything?
No, sir.
Okay, good, good. So if you know, then wherever you are, once again unmute yourself and please give a big clap. Let's cheer up for everyone. I want to hear a loud clap from everyone, from my side. Good, good. Thank you very much. We are all active. So now let's go and look at what is this publications. What publications on us? So publications may be if you have published anything in any of the academic journals. It may be even in our annual college magazine. It may be even in your departmental magazine. It may be even any newspaper, maybe in English or maybe any language, no matter. So you can mention it. Then there are many magazines which are focused on developmental issues. You can write articles or publication. Is not necessarily that you will only write a kind of research article. It may be when you're speaking your mind, certain issues, like when you look at child rights, when you look at environmental issues of say in and around your campus. You can be something like called campus journalist. You can report what's happening inside your campus. These things tells that how active you are, how active person. There are many web portals now. Suppose you have done some field work, Suppose you have done some, you worked with some organization, say for 7 days. You can just make a like a storytelling and a small article, like a feature with photographs you can publish. These things you can mention when you are making your CV, that yes, say publish article at say Shillong Times on say this and this that. So that will also give employer a kind of that yes, this student or this applicant is not only academically sound, he or she is very much passionate. So whatever he or she is doing, they are good in documentation, because any NGOs, international NGOs or like national NGOs, remember that documentation part is very important. Report writing and documentation. So this way, in one organization, it is not only one activity. Big organizations mean there will be different departments. So once you are smart, or you are like you are capable of 2 3 things, you have more chance to be selected and do more good for yourself and also for the society. At the same time, you can maintain a blog. A blog can be based on, like now you are studying say BSW, whatever you do a social work on weekend, or maybe with the community. Those things you can update, you can publish. And when you write or send your CV, you can link your blog. So I know many of you definitely use Instagram. Earlier it was TikTok kind of thing, but use it for professional things. I'm not against all casual things. Yes, as young people, we must do whatever we like. But to shine your CV, you can have a blog. And blog is same thing. What we do in Facebook, what we do in Instagram, what we do is Twitter. It is like same thing. From there, you can collect the good things which are linked to your career, which is linked to the profession, and you can start a very nice blog and you can mention it. Those things will help us. So is there anyone who is maintaining any blog? I want to ask, any student having any blog? Or are you managing any website, any portal or website, or any blog? Or do you have any experience of writing some like something like content writing you have written for some magazines or maybe newspapers? Any experience of any student? Or maybe, I mean, like we do not have that. Anyone? I just want to hear anyone having any experience on that. Okay, okay, I'll just move ahead. If no, I'll just move ahead. Now
Excuse me,
we need to
sir.
also, yeah,
I think there is a respondent just now who said yes.
yes, okay, okay, great.
Sartspin Porteron.
So they can explain. If anyone wants to share anything, he or she can join us for a few seconds. For the benefit of other students, one who said yes, can you just tell us a little bit of your experience? Okay, we can do it. We can do it at the end, no problem. So I'll just move. Then one of the things here I'm putting there. You can see English, Spanish, language, Arabic, French, Spanish, all these things, right? So you are maybe confused why I have put all these things. Language is important. Example I'm giving you: if you are case of the United Nations jobs, it is preferable to know their official languages, which includes English, French, Spanish, Chinese, and Russian. Suppose if you are very much eager to work in say abroad or somewhere in say African areas or even Latin America, because UN has a lot of or most of the developing countries are funded by a lot of international agencies, even in Bangladesh. So if you think of going and working for this kind of organization, it is very important that we also learn some foreign language. So in case of you want to work in India, of course, Hindi and English is important. But when you work with the community, it is always important that you speak the local language. And now the best thing is that organization United Nations do have office now in Guwahati. Earlier, we had people from WHO. We had people from UNO, which is industrial area with Cannon Bamboo Mission. Then we have a good office of UNICEF. I think many of you know. UNICEF has got their own office in Guwahati, and the best part, UN Women, UNDP, they have no office. They have representatives. That means more scopes are coming for us, so we can think of and online that when we are trying to apply for those jobs, making the CV, designing the CV, and ingredient those things we need for CV, we can start preparing. So if you want to work with the community, make sure that you speak the language, and those things must be reflected on your CV. So any doubt till here? Any students, any doubt or anything you want to ask? You can just unmute and you can speak if you have anything to ask. I'll be very happy. Okay, so we'll just move ahead. So now it comes how to write CV for NGO jobs. So I'm just putting NGO jobs. It's basically development sector. Now in NGO jobs means it may be job related to advocacy, campaign, program coordinator. Suppose someone, I think someone might be here from commerce background. Even we need people who can take care of accounts, people who are needed for administrative purpose. People are also needed, like lawyers are also needed. So that only MSW or PSW. Yes, they are the main workers, main staffs. At the same time, there are different departments. Now, for say accounts, so of course we need someone who has idea on accounting, and someone coming from accounts background. Now, suppose we need a very good fundraising officer. So, of course, many will prefer someone having rural management or even MBA kind of thing. So, whenever we have to look at for what post we are applying. The one thing, my request to all participants, if you are not from say BSW or MSW, if you are from other stream, don't think that BSW or BSW. Even commerce students, even engineers, nowadays, believe me, many engineers are directly recruited as a part of their campus placement with good NGOs, because there are NGOs working with technology. They are working with technology for enabling basic rights to individuals. Like in many places, they work for food and sanitation, they're working for water. That means they also need technical people. Now, suppose if you want to work in environmental issues, someone wants to work in climate change, we would need photographers, we would need people who can do it from scientific background. There are NGOs working, say, for wildlife conservation. So, in case of wildlife conservation, of course, we need zoologists, we need botanists. But at the same time, awareness purposes, others, for education, need people. So now CV for NGOs or development sector as a whole. So from developmental perspective, I'm making it very simple. Brand us so that you are a very passionate change maker. You're eager to work. You eager to work with the community, with people. Those things must be reflected in your CV. Relate your past experiences, which would make it more friendly towards the development sector, apart from the academic qualifications. Putting volunteer experiences. Can anyone tell me what this SDZ means? Can any student tell me what is the meaning of SDZ?
Sir, it's
Yeah.
Sustainable Development Goals.
Very good, very good. It's sustainable development goals. Now, if you look at the global funding pattern, because NGOs or development sector relies on funding globally. So whenever they fund it with the connection of sustainable development goals, which is like eradication of poverty, zero hunger, universal access to education, improving the maternal health, even working for climate change, working for oceans, working for environment, even global partnership. So whenever you are putting your experience, I know all of us, we have experience, but to make it organized, link it with certain those SDGs points, then it is easy for those people to read it and get the idea. And believe me, you will have upper advantage of those that particular CV of yours to be shortlisted. Rest, of course, in interview you have to be prepared, you have to speak. But our first challenge is how we ensure that your CV is being accepted. It is not going to the recycle bin. It is not going to delete button. Then, if you have written any articles in any academic journals or newspapers, you can mention it, and this should be reflected. If you have any membership with NGOs or volunteer group, like there are students membership for different NGOs, even national and international NGOs, you can show those things. Like when I was a student, I was member of People's for Animal. I was a member of Bombay National History Society. I paid money, and many of my students friends they said, "Why you are paying money for this?" I said, "I know because I'm interested, so I'm a member." I was a member of this WWF Youth for Nature. They are basically working with the students. So there are many other organizations which are working with children, school children, college going students. So we can be part with those organizations, and this can be reflected, this can be mentioned. Apart from that, if you have done any activity like which has been initiated by you or someone in your community, where like it can be like a tree plantation activity, it can be even your blood donation activity, sometime feeding the hungry, like what we have done in pandemic. Many of us, we go and try to give some food to people who are in the streets. So those things you can mention it, and I would request, do mention it nicely so that these are reflected. These are experience which are not paid. I know I'm not putting it paid, so you can mention it as your volunteer activities. Any doubt or any queries here, or I move ahead? Okay, I'm moving ahead, because if there's any question, please raise hand. And Madam Eda is there. She would look, and if any questions, she will just flag me up. Okay, I'll just move on. Of course, we can discuss at the end. There is no problem. Now, knowing the VMZ, can anyone tell me what is this VMZ means? Any student, please tell me what is this VMZ stands for. Any idea? If students cannot reply, then we'll ask faculty members. But first, I request students, and that too also without googling. Please don't now open your browser and don't put in Google what is this VMZ means. Anyone trying? What is this VMZ means?
Sir, velocity made good.
Pardon? Good. You have tried a good one, but it's little different. It's a little different. Anyways, so when it comes to NGOs or organizations, if you have browsed websites of any organization, you will come across something called VMZ. This is called vision of the organization, mission of the organization, and goals of the organization. So this is in short called VMZ. So it is important to know about the background of the organization where you are applying, because this will also help you to write an effective cover letter. At the same time, this it will reflect your expertise, skills, experience accordance with the background of that particular organization. So before you apply and before making the CV, my request is to you that please study the organization's profile, and this is available online. It is also available in, if you read the annual report of different organization, you will find all these things. If you read the newsletters of those organizations, you will find it. You can read its mission, you can read its vision, you can read the values, goals, forms of operation, how they work, and the key activities, because these will help you. And relating to those activities, if you apply, because this will give an holistic view of what they expect from the candidate. Suppose I am an organization, I work for the child right, and if you come and you say I am going to work for the elderly, it doesn't match. You may be an expert and that particular elderly thing, but I'm looking for someone who is expertise on, say, working with young people. So you might have different expertise. So what I'm saying is that CV, sometimes few things can be changed. So don't think that once you make your CV that is permanent. No, it can be changed. And my request is to make it an effective, keep it changing. But yes, main points should be covered there. Okay,
Also really needed.
you can you can mention activities related to organization if possible. Suppose you are applying to say voluntarily held association of India and say anti-tobacco campaign, and in college days, school days, you took part in a lot of drama, you have taken part in like street campaigns. Those things you can mention because you know where you are applying. Like if you are applying for like SOS kind of organizations, SOS is there, SOS is in Guwahati, different places. So they also look at people who can do some fundraising. So suppose if you have the experience of fundraising, those things you can mention. Otherwise, in many other things you don't have to mention. But in social sector, when you are making your CV, if you have experience of fundraising, you can mention it because that also gives you little upper hand than others. In simple, last but not least, what I'm trying to say is that let your CV be something like a storytelling about you. So if you have given me the CV, reading your CV, I should understand. The picture should come in front of mine that yes, candidate is like this. Is interested, really a passionate changer, wants to change the world in a very small way. I'm saying changing the world is not that easy. Who understand sustainable development goals, who has come from BSW and MSW background, who have academic qualification. At the same time, he or she has also done some field activities, some internships, written one or two articles. Now, if you reflect these things on the CV, believe me, your CV is going to be shortlisted for sure. Okay. So these are few apps and sites. When you are free, you can just go through, but don't just believe in this. I'm just giving just an idea. Okay, you can just have a look at these websites because there are many websites. They will give you idea. But my request is that even you prepare, please consult with your faculty members. You can cross check it with your friends, maybe from our department. Ask them to check it out. You can take help from even external mentors and all. Ask them to make it good, and then if needed, you can post your CV. So now, before I end up, our principals are saying, "What is a CV? Is it like a resume?" Now, initially, as I'm a fresher, so I'm just say I have done BSW or I'm pursuing my MSW, or maybe I may be a recent graduate. So initially, it is my CV. Once I have certain experiences, say after 5 years or 10 years, say I have worked with different organizations, I have worked with say grassroots organizations, I have worked with like international organizations, then what we can do, then we can turn that CV, we can make it to a resume. So for time being, it is the curriculum vitae. Just to see the difference, sir, they told us in the beginning, CV is basically it's a Latin word meaning course of your life, and resume is a French word meaning to sum up what we have done in the past, our experiences, our achievements. In CV, we'll be more, going into depth, but in resume, we'll just come and we'll speak the best thing, just sum up. It's like CV, maybe even in my case, when I tried to make my CV, it was the page was going. But believe me, I made resume in only one page. Only one page is my resume, but my CV is around more than 8 to 10 pages and differ from different organization. Sometimes I make it long, sometimes I make it short, depend on what applying, because I do take up some assignment. I also work with some international organizations, so they want particular CVs. That is good for people when I'm experienced. But when as for you, my dear students, because you are very much new, so you have to start with your initial CV. And I'm sure after 5 years or 10 years, all of you will be experienced. And then you'll have a wonderful resume. Okay. So with this few sample, not exactly, but just to give you an idea. And of course, I'm sure MSW, BSW students of St. Edmund's College, I think you will go and you will make your CV. I'll be also there in the future to help you out. Your faculty members are there. You can, you know, uh, show it to them, make it corrected, compare others, and your CV can be, a very nicely made. Okay, so just an example, I mean, like already we have given you the idea. So any doubt so far here? Any questions or anything you want to ask? Any quick, like any quick question or any quick critical observation anyone made, please feel free. First choice is students. Then of course we'll come down to our respected faculty members. Any question from any student?
Yes, sir, I have one.
Please, please.
Sir, it's about these online courses.
Yeah.
So my question is, do online courses, like for example, Udemy, do they have the same relevance as offline courses if we apply?
See, this Udemy, Coursera, or EX courses are basically like same something like the distance mode. Now you are doing say BSW and MSW and is like so of course in a regular mode, okay, they have more advantages. But people suppose who do BSW or SW and say they have been associated with some NGOs or organization, and now with their experience they are trying to get admission in distance mode. Now comes to courses like Udemy or things. These things they basically main focus is the effect or MS for weightage. At the same if any course they also bring, but of course for a regular course is always more. I am saying online course and distance course can be like supplementary. You can do, there is no, but if you get time, it is always preferable to do a course not in distance mode or on, but say some say short-term courses. Like now, example I'm giving you. Suppose you have finished your, say you are doing your BSW and you are doing your MSW, and you want to do a small course on say how to be for social. There are many websites in India, platform where they now suppose fundraising may not be taught in your basically it will they may not teach you how to raise funds. You want to take an online course, 6 months of course on FA, yes, that you can do. Then you are doing it as a supplement. Now when we talk about like report writing, documentation, so of course we know how to write, but all of us cannot publish our articles. Now suppose if you think because you are trying to do something supplementary and which is also required, but choose a course. It should not be that Udemy is giving me something, Coursera is giving me something, or like Unacademy is giving me something, any other such thing. Don't think that only because to increase the certificate. Instead of that, be a little choosy. We can look at the course which is read. If you are firm that you are going to work in development sector, there are many courses you choose and you do it. They bring value. But of course, if you compare a course from any online thing and the regular course, then the demand of the regular course is always more than online course or the distance learning course. Am I able to justify it?
Yes, sir. To some extent, I have got a better idea now.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
So you can do course. There is no harm, but priority should be your regular course. All right. Then if you have time, please go. There is no, you can do it.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Welcome. So we'll just sample. I will show one or two things. So once again, I want everyone. When I say are we, if you are together attending, I can see one. Everyone loudly say yes. If you are not present, say no. Let me know how many yes and how many say no. Are we all together?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Are we really together?
Yes, sir.
Louder than me, louder than me, louder than me.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes,
sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
good, good. Are you all sleeping?
No, sir.
Good, 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 good. So we are all getting bored.
No, sir.
no, sir.
No, sir.
Then
No, sir.
once again, we are going to clap for each other. Very good. Thank you. Awesome, awesome. Excellent. I'm very happy with challenge for students. Excellent.
Thank you, sir.
After many days, I'm seeing this speed.
Thank you, sir.
Excellent. Good. So now we'll see. Now we can welcome. We'll talk again. Just again, we can keep in the mute mode. I just want to show you just few quick sample, and then we'll go for the open discussion. Okay. So here it comes. This alignment, don't look at the alignment. I put some name Albert Sangma. I don't know whether this person really exists or not. I don't know whether there is something called ABC colony in Meghalaya. I don't know. I'm not sure. So in objective, I'm showing something different. Basically, we speak about something different, but we can also have this approach. I am enthusiastic, hardworking, proactive, and keen to work in the surroundings, helpful to the utilization of my true potential, and be part of a winning team. I am enthused with new challenging assignments which entail a scope of growth in different dimensions and also bring opportunity of personal growth and positive contribution to the society. So objective can be of this style also. Don't think, and my request to all the students, friends, many time we just copy the objective. Suppose if one will make the CV, if I say BSW, one student is making the CV, then everyone will try and ditto copy it. Do not do it, my request. And one time I, on the lighter side, one person, one boy came, and when I was looking at the CV, I mean the thing, do you know what came? Everything was good. And later on, like name, address, sex, nationality, date of birth, all these things mentioned. So he had actually taken a printout from a DTP center. So that DTP wala, the DTP guy did everything. Everything was same, only name and this thing changed. But he forgot to remove female and put it male. So he came and put the CV, and where it was written that he is a female. See, this is so when we do cut, copy, paste, be creative. Don't just copy it. You will be caught. Okay. Then you can mention academic qualifications, year wise. You can mention your institute. You can even mention the examination. If you want to mention your score, fine. All those who are getting good marks, I'm sure you will mention the score. But people who do good marks will not put the score, I'm sure. But at least you mention the year which exams you have passed, or you can mention the school and college. Because sometimes even your school and college also matters. Because if you are from a very good reputed school or a reputed college, that gives you upper hand. Additional qualifications, if you have like computers, like even music, you can mention it. If you have work experience, like even field work, block placement, you can make in a column style nicely, to total period. If you have any designation or the location, you can mention. Then you can mention your key responsibility areas, like one sentence or two sentences. Then other achievements, like I have mentioned it, just example, member of school football team, say member of the college football team. Because if you represent your college in inter college competition, or if you represent university, this is interesting. This will give you advantage. If you have computer proficiency, you can mention it. In personal details, mention date of birth, mention the language. I just mentioned English, Hindi, Khasi, Garo, so you can mention. Apart from that, if you have taken any other courses or trainings where you have certificates, those things you can mention. You can mention your hobbies, or if you want to mention again interest that you want to do this thing, you can mention it. Last but not least, you just write simply, I hereby declare that the above information is true to the best of my knowledge. You can put your signature, or you put your full name, mention the date when you are, suppose if you are submitting the CV today, mention today's date. and the place. If you are putting it from Shillong, make Shillong, Guwahati, whatever. So this is very simple. Initially, this is a model or template for people who are in freshers. But once you are experienced, these things will go on. Okay. I'm showing you one more similar kind of thing. Say personal information, name, phone number, email, address. You can write career objectives. This is the example: to use my skills in the best possible way for better development of the society, seeking for my accused self platform where I shall not only enhance my latent skill but also work with full dedication and commitment towards the betterment of the organization. Then you can mention like Master of Social Work or BSW, HS, SLC. If you have mentioned marks, you can go ahead. Other qualification, work experience if you have, organization, topic, area, duration, this you can mention. Publications if you have anything, you can mention. Then your expertise, skills, hobbies, area of interest, date of birth, and then declaration. Language known. This is just I'm giving example. Now, just before I end up, I want to show you my CV because many might ask my CV. So if I am putting my CV like years back when I was in this stage, like when I was in, say, finished my graduation and I was doing some activities. So I was a student because I had two good achievement in my credit that time, because when I was my postgraduate course, I was selected for this to represent India in a very United Nations conference in Russia. That was when I was a student. Then I was also South Asia's delegate for UN Global Youth Advisory Board. So that was two of my solid experience. So these two things I have mentioned as achievement, because I'm sure anyone reading it would at least think of, na, okay, this has got something different, like that. Then, as I said, mention your expertise before. So that time I had only few things, and I attended lot of seminars and conferences. So I mentioned about seminars and conferences because I attended one in Delhi way back when I was a student. In my advantage was I have been active since my school days. I was very active with different activities because I was determined to be in this development sector. So that's why I used to go and attend seminars, workshop. So you can mention, and I have documented few. List is more. I had deleted many, but just to show an example in bullet points. Then involvement in media, because I was involved that time. And one good thing is that when I was student, I used to write in those children page, children, like every newspapers, they have some children's column kind of thing. And one good thing is that I published my write-ups even in national newspapers that time, like Hindustan Times, and they paid me for it. When I was in college, I used to write, and then many students were envy. How can I write? I said, I have interest. Those things has helped me out in my own branding. So I have just mentioned few newspapers where I wrote articles as a student, as a school student, as a college student. I wrote many articles. Then involvement in some activities. I was founder of some organizations when I was in school. I was part of some eco clubs. Then I was part with NCC, NSS. I mentioned it. Work experience I have mentioned because I did carry a few small projects. One I did with a professor from IIT Guwahati. Then I was fortunate to be selected to carry out a study for Asian Development Bank when I was a student, because that was like I was like a field investigator kind of thing, but it was my experience. Similarly, I was made coordinator of some events uh, what was held in Guwahati and Assam. So those things I mentioned as work experience. But these work experience, except this Asian Development Bank and others, are all are not paid. They used to just pay me for my traveling and things. But ADB project, I was paid well. Others are just basic things, but still I put a work experience. Then education, that time I was BA, but I had only I did post graduation later on. So I mentioned about BA, date of birth I mentioned, language I have mentioned, and then signature and place. So just I have given example because many times whenever I go to college and universities, they always ask me, can you show your CV? But now, if you are more interested later on, I'll be sharing with you my latest resume and latest CV, which is little big. So with this, I hope that I have been able to give you some basic idea. So I will say all the best to all the participants, more than 160 participants attending listening, and you have heard what I have said. Now what we'll do, we can go for open discussion. But before that, if you want my number or my email address, I'm mentioning it. Any queries in the future also, if you think that you want to write or you want some help. And one good thing is that I have been writing in the Shillong Times for now a couple of years on social issues. And if you are from Shillong, you can read my articles every Sunday, which is based on career and jobs and internships and all these things. So I have a career column, and that is I focus on different options and opportunities. I have written also articles how to make effective CV resume. So if you're in Shillong, I'll be happy. Do read. That will also help you shaping your own career, making good CV. You can write, send me feedback. Right. So before I end up and stop sharing, always remember the only difference between a good day and a bad day is your or my attitude. So COVID pandemic has really brought a lot of questions than answers. But it has also given us the opportunity to interact this way. This is the innovations. And we have to move ahead with these innovations, being the passionate for sustainable social transformation. And it is possible when we are really committed. So are we ready for a change, everyone? I'm asking all the students, are you ready for bringing a social change in a lifetime?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Very
sir.
good. And if we cannot achieve sustainable development goals, if you cannot end poverty and hunger from the world, I don't know about others, I take shame on me. Shame on me in spite of having this technology, innovations, if you cannot bring an end to the social problem. So let us take up the challenge. It's a right time. And you are fortunate that most of you are studying in St. Edmunds, a beautiful college. I have been there. You are doing BSW, excellent. Some are doing MSW. Take this advantage, get everything together, make a solid CV, sign your CV so that the employer select you. They should think that anyone coming from St. Edmunds should be the first priority. And that would be only possible when you make an effective CV at the same time having commitment for sustainable social transformation. So let us make it. What you prefer, impossible or I am possible?
I
I
am
am
possible.
possible.
So we'll kick out I and M. We'll kick out I and M, and we'll make it possible. And this is possible when you are attentive, when you attend this kind of webinar. And I'm very much happy I can still see 160 participants. So finally, before I end, I'm not saying I'm ending the discussion, but before I end the stop sharing, so and saying thank you. So once again, I want a loud clap from each and everyone. So I have just stopped sharing, and now any questions, any queries, feel free. First, I would request our students, friends, if they have queries, questions, comment, feedback, please feel free. As long as time permits, we'll go ahead. And if we are
There have
exceeding
been
time,
questions.
and of course, I'll read. Meanwhile, I'll also read the chat box to get the question. But if anyone wants to ask, please feel free. Please ask.
Yeah,
I'm here
sir,
to.
so sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
Just a small request to all the participants, just for 1 minute to kindly open their video because we have to take a photo for your participation.
Yeah, good.
Yes, please, participants, kindly switch on your video. Okay, thank you.
So I'm trying to read the questions from chat box, but I do no doubt I'll be reading it. But at the same time, if anyone wants to ask any question, please feel free. You can unmute and you can ask question.
So there was a question in the beginning. It was asked by Bhupali Rajbongshi,
Huh?
where she,
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
yeah, where the question was, what are the best keywords to use in my CV?
One base keyword is effective communication. Means you should show that you are very much effective. Your communication is good. You can working in team or team building. Report. These are the things. From expertise and skills, the base thing which describes you, you can use it as your keywords. So that once I see it, I think that yes, this person is creative, having critical thinking, or report writing. Those things are the keywords. So keywords may be different for different students. So it must be first you shortlist all your expertise, shortlist all your skills, and from it, the best one which you want to put in the top, that can be your keyword.
So I have a question.
Yeah, please.
So coming from a BSW background, report writing and fieldwork goes hand in hand. Although
Yeah.
our reports are only limited to the work that we do in the department. So can that also be included in our expertise and skills?
Yes, you can. But always remember that the report writing means when you are doing report writing, you are not only copying from some other sources, right? The creative writing should be there. If you have written the report, if you have submitted, yes, that can be one of your expertise. But my request is that nowadays it is easy to do report writing because I think you know about plagiarisms and all. We cut and copy from different sources and we make it. My request is don't do that. If it is your own report, if it is your own way, you can mention it as your expertise, but should not be copy
Thank you, sir.
pasted. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Any other questions? Please feel free. Now it's open. I'm sure madam and sir, they won't have problem. So students, please take your liberty. Ask any question. I'll try my best to reply.
So I have another question.
Please ask.
Yes, sir. So also you mentioned about blogging and content
Yeah,
writing. So
correct.
if any blogs are related to anthology, poetry
Hmm,
writing, can that
hmm.
also be included as one of the skills?
That can be included. There is no harm. But if you're applying for a job in that's what I'm saying. Your creative may be anything, creativity, right? But my request is look at that, or that will show your creativity. So as to that, creativity is one thing, and using your creative skills to showcase the problems or write the things, so you can show it. But if you are really creative on that, suppose you are a student of BSW and you are very good in writing poems, excellent. That means you can also write things reflecting the social issues. So if you have not written, you can start writing on that. So any writing, any creative writing is always welcome. But see, we also know, say eating sweets is good, but a patient with diabetes cannot eat sweets, right? But you cannot say now, if I'm a diabetic patient, I'm not a diabetic patient, by the way. So they see good sweets from a very good sweet shop, but helpless. So sometimes you may have excellent writing, but suppose I have an organization and my whole issue is to write on investigative, say I'm working on the climate change, I'm linking the women's problem with climate change. That means your writing somewhere should be also linked to it. So if you can show it, then there is no problem. But you can show it, and my request is that if you're creative and if you have done such blogging, fine. Because heading, see, again I'm linking you can have an, say, Instagram account, fine, there is no harm. But Facebook, Insta, correct. At the same time, we should also have a profile in LinkedIn, which is a purely professional site. Then it is more helpful for us to be selected or getting selected. Otherwise, you can mention it, there is no harm. But my request to everyone, whenever you are mentioning certain skills, please look at to that organization whether they have those connections. Like that's why I said no. Let us read about the vision, mission, and goals of that organization. So if you can link it, then the CV becomes more effective. Ingredients are same. Like in simple, let me make you in simple. We eat momo. There are different momos. Some eat say pork momo, some will eat chicken momo, some will go for veg momo. And momos, it differs. Taste differs. But the ingredients are more or less same. So now when we make the CV, you have to look at where we are presenting it. But any kind of creative experience you have, any creativity, this you can show. But instead of poems or this thing, I would say if you show that you have written some articles on this SDGs development issues, that brings little more weightage than other creative works. Okay.
Sir,
Thank you,
I
sir.
have a question.
Yeah, please.
Sir, often I get confused between when it comes to CV and resume writing. So what
Yeah.
are the key difference between these two, sir?
Are you a student or you're a working professional?
I am a student, sir.
Then it is CV for you. Initially, you are using CV. These details you are mentioning. See, in simple, in resume, you don't have to mention class 10, 12, and graduation level. Just mention the highest qualification. Suppose if you have played for, say, you have represented your district, you have represented your state, you have represented your country. In CV, you will write, okay, in this year I have worked with, say, ABC organization in Shillong. Next day, you can say I worked with, say, this thing. But in resume, what you do, what we give basically, say, if you have won, say, an international award, just you will mention the Olympic participation. Simple. You don't have to show that you are a state player because we know it. Because when you are Olympic player means you have to come through district, state, and national level. In CV, things are more detailed. Okay, like course of life. But in resume, it's more like summing up. So one thing you are putting, and now in different things. So the resume is basically short one, and it is good for people who have some experiences. But when we are freshers, when we are new, it is good that we use that of CV. Got the point?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Any other? Please feel free. All students, please feel free. Any questions? If I know, I'll reply. Don't worry. If I don't know, I'll just surrender. I say I don't know. If I know, I'm sure I'm going to speak.
Sir, excuse me, sir.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Sir, for the languages, since I cannot speak Hindi fluently, but I understand and I speak a little bit of Hindi. So, sir, can we put in the CV that we can speak Hindi?
Yes, you can. Then what you can do, base thing, if you are say, if you just understand, it may be, see, basically it is reading, writing, and understand. So if you cannot read, no problem. If you cannot suppose write, no problem. Then you can make a column, no? Say English, read, you can click yes. Say write, yes, and understand, yes. Hindi you can write, maybe you cannot read, so no. You may not read properly, maybe no, but you understand. So you just mention, and this thing is allowed. You can do it. Not necessary that you have to be an expert. Same thing if you can understand a little bit of, say, Bengali language, you can mention it that you are not very fluent, but at least you understand. So just we have to speak the fact. So you can make, in that case, my request is that you can make like a tabular form. You can invite later on, I'll WhatsApp group or someone will say it. I'll just say, because in many organizations like my organization, I'm saying, when we apply for different assignments and tasks in UN and all, so they give us very briefly read, understand, speak, communicate, and then we tick or we cross. So in your case, it would be say reading, you can make cross. Say writing, you make a cross, and when it comes to understand, you tick. This is possible.
Thank you, sir.
Excuse me,
Yeah,
sir.
welcome.
I have
Yeah,
another question. So,
please.
for example, if it comes to the CV, so can we like use quotation regarding with that? For example, as a quotation regarding with the specific professional course that as students are doing.
Like quotation means, can you just give me one example? What you mean exactly with that quotation?
For example, like as a social worker, we should do this, like somehow like that.
Preferably avoid it. You can write about your profile, How you want to show your profile, that you can write. What you have to do, that's different. But as an individual, like either you can make it career objective, or sometime you can mention career profile. Say you want to say yourself as a person with a research thing. Where it was mine, I was as a youth activist. My profile is youth activist working with the young people for civil society. So instead of quotation, use more factual things and objective which you are having it, like what you really want to do it. If you are applying for some job, definitely objective. Many of us, we do not have objective, I agree. Many of us, we just do the job because we earn money, most of us. But that is not a thing here. We are learning BSW, MSW because we have to understand that situation. We are not per se with other graduates. Somewhere we have to draw the line. We are different. So instead of what you say, this quotation, avoid it preferably, because that is not going to make a big difference. But if you want to showcase what objectives you have, that you can say, like, I'm enthusiastic, or I want to work with that organization to grow myself, means to enhance my skills. At the same time, I want to also contribute to the growth of the organization and make some positive impact in the society. These kind of things you should use.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Any other questions or queries? Please feel free. Madam Edda, I think we are on time. There is no problem with the timing, I guess.
Yes, sir. It's okay because questions are coming in. There is a question just now by
Okay.
Sir Biswanath Ghosh,
Okay.
where he is on questioning. His question is on to describe a bit about the cover letter.
Okay. So initially I gave the idea of what we need to write in the cover letter. Initially, we can praise, say, first paragraph can be, we can praise for the work of that organization where we are applying. Then second, little bit of myself, why I am fit for that particular job. And at the end, I can thank the organization because I am here to say, like, thanking the organization, I am ending it. So cover letter is basically, initially when you start the cover letter, initially first paragraph, you just go through the organization where you are applying and just praise. I mean, praise in the sense, just write little bit about them, and because you know that this organization is doing whatever impact they have made. If you can write it in one paragraph, good. And second paragraph, your self intro, like how you want to, if it's my turn, I would say I would like to introduce myself, like, was one of the youth activists working with young people for making a vibrant civil society. Simple. So you can show your interest, and that way you can write it. At the end, I would say thank you, of course, thanking the organization, and that 3 to 4 paragraphs is perfectly all right. I am saying maximum is A4 page. Short is also good. You don't have to write everything. So 3 to 4 paragraphs is good. And some sample, of course, I gave you some, like, you got some apps and websites where you will get some sample. You first, initially, you can go through it, discuss with your faculty members. Even if you want my help, please feel free. Then once you prepare it, we can modify it. There is no harm. And this cover letter can be modified. Like Principal Sir said in the beginning, our CV can be keep modifying. Like you make a mind, and this cover letter might be different. Don't put only one standard cover letter, because if you're applying for, today suppose you're applying for voluntary health, it's different. If you're applying for, say, some government liability, it would be different. If you're applying for UN job, it's different. If you're working, like, say, UNICEF, it will be different. So there is no standard thing, but the structure can be same. This is the thing. 3 to 4 paragraphs is okay. I'm also trying to read all these questions. Okay, then. Oh, someone said my voice is cracking. Oh, now it's good. Okay, thank you very much for the comment. Sometimes it's too break. Thank you. Okay.
The question is there on what is the maximum number of pages for a CV?
Standard, it's, see, if you can, 3, I would suggest 3 maximum in the beginning. 2 is good, but don't go it more than 3. The reason being, you can make it even 10, 20, no problem. But problem would be, suppose you are sending it to some employer, you are sending it to some organizations. They have to shortlist. The moment you write too many things, initially they will think, being a fresher or something, they will think this might be a fake one. So they will even may not look at. So standard for a fresher, I would say if you can make it in 2 pages, good. First page with your expertise, your achievements should be in the top. Education, many of us, we give the education qualification at top. So education and all you can give it later, that the people will look at. But because every one of us are going to pass, we have passed class 10, we have passed class 12, hobbies, date of birth, this thing can go at the back. Top, you always make sure the first page, it should be something like, when suppose I am reading your CV, I am someone who has been asked to do the shortlisting. So what I would look at, do you think that it is literally possible to read everything? I'm saying no, not at all. So what I do, basically I look at the first page and see some quick thing and we mark it. And then if you find, okay, these skills, this expert, okay, put it for shortlist, and rest we just click delete bin. If you want your CV not to go to recycle bin, not to go to delete folder, then make it short. You initially go maximum 3 pages. Try to, if you can do it in 2, it's good. If you're in 3 page, font size, of course you can use 11. But if you have 2 pages, you can also use 12 font, no problem. But don't go more than 12. 11 is standard, 11 or 12, and good the font, and then this thing. So I would say for freshers, don't cross 3 pages. Okay.
Sir, I have a question again.
Yeah.
So, sir, my question is, when it comes to CV, is it more recommendable to write it by yourself or to type it out?
Always type it out. It is good to type it out, because when you write, your handwriting, your way of writing may not be, some may not understand it. So just that's, it's good you type it out nicely, and when you type it, it looks very nice, neat and clean. You save it nicely in your notepad. Also convert to the PDF format, because sometimes if you send in Word format, suppose this American English and UK English, so they will show some errors. So if I open your suppose CV and I see all these red marks, or green, it doesn't look good. So in that case, you can send it in a PDF format, because in PDF format you are safe on that. But when you make, even if you are trying to make it in PDF, look at the alignment. So it's just, before you send, you make sure that alignments are good, all points are things. You can mention the page number if you wish, but use the typed one. That is standard.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So there's a question in the chat box
Yeah.
by Sanvini, where she asked, sir, regarding the achievement or reward, what are the paper presentation in seminars? Sir, please explain a bit on this.
See, paper presentation is like whenever you attend any seminar or workshop or training is different. But see, like in seminars, there are paper presentation, and these paper presentation are being done by mostly by research scholars or teachers, faculty members. But if you look at, any seminars, there is also options for, they also encourage students to write paper. Suppose I am a student of, say, BSW, and I know that there is a conference going to be held in Delhi. So I got the flyer, I got the brochure, where it is written that students' paper can be given. So what I'll do, I'll write an abstract first, I'll submit the abstract, and then if my abstract is selected, they will ask for the full papers. So if I get the chance that my paper is being published or going to be presented, that thing you can mention as your achievement. You can mention it in achievement if it is international, or if it is like, your inter-college thing, or you did in Shillong, you can separately make a column called publication and put it, or you can also put it in achievement. Both the options are open. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other question? I'm also trying to read the question from chat box.
Sir, there was a question, I think so by mistake, it came to me.
Okay. Tell
It,
me.
it is by Miss Banisha, where
Yeah.
she asked you as to, sir, can you please give some suggestions that is there is there any colleges or universities which are not so far where we can learn languages? So I think
You
she's
mean
asking.
foreign language?
I think so, sir. Like,
If the student is there, do you mean it by learning foreign language or you mean other language? If the student is there, Banisha, I want to know, do you mean by you are saying that is it learning the foreign language or some language in India? Well, I mean, like, is it that I want to know? But I'm assuming it's you are talking about foreign language, I guess.
Banisha Dakhar. Yes, are you there?
Banisha, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Please, can you be little? Please ask the question. Yeah, please ask.
Sir, like Spanish and something like that.
No, well, like language, like, do you mean by this foreign language or language
Yes,
spoken in India? Foreign language.
Yes, sir, foreign
So
language.
yeah, for foreign language, see the best thing, because if I'm doing say BSW or if I'm doing MSW, so it is not possible for me to go for a degree level course. There are many universities who offer you full-time, like, full-time degree on a particular, like, France. But we want to say be social worker. At the same time, I have suppose a dream to work in say African region, or I want to work in say Latin American region. So if I want to work in African region, like, anywhere, North Africa or South Africa, all this part, where the poverty is more, where all these UN agencies are working. So the French is a preferable language, all right, because they had the French colonies. So in that case, the best way would be, instead of going to a regular college or university, like this French Consul General, like embassy, simple, they also conduct few exams. There are different levels exam. So you can get in touch with the embassy, and if you get the certificate from embassy, this becomes certificate. And you will also accept those certificates which are issued by the embassy. So like in case of France, I'm telling you, in Kolkata, but they have institute here in Guwahati. I'm not sure. I have to just cross check whether those centers in Shillong or not. Nagaland, Dimapur, they have some institutes that teach Japanese. Shillong, I'll just confirm. But in Assam, I know many places Assam where it is being taught. But my request is that you can connect with embassy consul. If you want, please keep my number. I will connect you the right person. So you can do the course which is certified from the embassy side. That will help you. And at the same time, if you do course from this, then they will also give you some opportunity. At least you will have an opportunity to go to their country. Sometimes people from those countries will come. So that opportunity is available. So I'll
So we have a, sorry, sir, we have a response from one of the participants where he said that FLU in Nehu offers courses for foreign languages.
I know
like
FLU, yes.
French and Spanish.
Yes, yes. But that is, IFLU is more like for, it is, see, I'm saying two things. IFLU, then what they will do, it is good for people who are more eager to learn the language. But suppose I want to focus as a social worker. I'm just try to understand. IFLU, I know I have even my friends, I know some teachers here. What I'm trying to say is that if you have time, then you can go for this long-term course, like certificate course for 1 year or more than that. But suppose you want to become UN volunteer, just example I'm saying, you want to become UN volunteer, and UN volunteer, you can apply through website and you can choose your areas where you want to work. And now suppose you select some place in France. Oh, sorry, not France, sorry. You want some place in African countries, sub-Saharan areas or places where there is conflict. So of course you have this as UN language, you are already comfortable in English. So in that case, you can start learning French. In that case, uh, if you have time, you can join institutes like IFLU. But if you do not have time, then you can join the courses which are certified from the ministry. Sorry, not ministry. I'm thinking, sorry, from the embassy. And this France embassy, they conduct this exam. They have office in, of course, the main embassy office in Delhi, but there's office in Kolkata. The to Northeast is being taken care by the Kolkata Kolkata office. So that thing you can do. But if you have time, then you can go for full-time course. Even like, because these institutes, they conduct regular courses. But I'm saying, if you, because if you are UN volunteer, it doesn't mean that you will be staying there forever. So if you want to come back, so planning should be on this. But it's good to learn the language. There is no harm. If you also, you can explore, if you get time, if you have time and other things, most you can go ahead with that. But if you are, just my request is that in case of, if you're trying to become UN volunteer, you will always have advantage if you know their official language apart from English. Like it may be French, it may be Spanish, Arabic, Chinese, or Russian.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
I have to interrupt because, like, of the time constraints with Zoom link.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Now I would like to call our faculty member, Sir Daniel Karkongor, to kindly deliver the vote of thanks. Sir, over to you.
Yes, thank you, Veda. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you for such an interactive, knowledgeable, and also lively session. To have almost around 100 plus participants staying for so long, almost 2.5 hours plus, even me for that matter, I feel it has to be interesting. And I feel I myself have learned so much about CVs and resumes and all the details, being so patient and to listen to each and every question and being interrupted by drawings and by everything. I'm so sorry, I apologize. So we'll have to track these people who are actually creating such kind of disturbances and distractions during workshops or programs like this. And we'll look into the matter. Thank you, sir, for your time. And we are looking forward, sir, for our next session with you, even in the coming years. This has to go on for the next, it has to be a yearly kind of a program for our students. It's very, very beneficial. I think so. It's the first time, no, Eda, that we're having such a kind of a program. Thank you, sir. Yes. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your time and for your expertise. I also take this opportunity to thank our respected principal, Dr. Sylvanus Lamare, and for his presence in this workshop, and also our Dean, Dr. Mrs. B. Nongbri. Okay, both of them have actually, because of some urgent meetings, they have left the workshop, and we thank them for their presence and for the continuous support. They represent the management, and it means a lot when they are there for these kind of programs for the department. I also take this opportunity to thank the head of department, Ms. Audrey Dolling, who has continuously supported us as colleagues, as friends, every now and then telling us to conduct programs, and we are able to conduct these kind of programs for the students. I know in this kind of a situation where we are not able to actually meet offline, but thank God that we are able to at least interact in this fashion technologically. So I feel it is a blessing. It is a blessing that, like how you have mentioned earlier also, sir, even if we are not like last pandemic, just after the last year with the lockdown, when we had just started with the lockdown and we didn't know how to go about, forget about conducting programs. Classes was a problem. Right now we are able to conduct programs, and it means a lot, not only for the faculties, but also for the students. It has lots and lots of doubts and also fears which are being cleared during this time, like especially like how you mentioned, we have more of questions and answers during these times. Okay, both from the teachers and also the students. What is the future of the students? What is the future of social work as such? To give such a clear, you can say clear presentation on each and every topic in each and every slide has really been impressive, sir. Thank you. And thank Audrey for constantly supporting us, who's the head of department, our colleagues, our other colleagues, who have always been there with us throughout all these other programs, for their suggestions, for their ideas, and also Randolph, Sir Randolph Langstay. Okay, he's also a colleague of our department, and he's actually helped with the technical aspect. All of us are actually technologically very disabled, so he's helping us with this. And thank you, Sir Randolph, for for your support and for your assistance. And I thank also our students. 2 students from the 6th semester passing out batch will be passing out soon, Sengbat Sangma and also Melissa Karmudai, 2 students who have been with us for the past 2-3 weeks and helping Miss Edda. Okay. Most importantly, I thank my colleague who's in front of our screen here, Miss Edda. Okay, she's initiated this whole program, and I feel her ideas have really worked wonders today. I feel for students to stick for 2 to 3 hours. For our class, no one sits for 2 to 3 hours. Half an hour is also very maximum. So I feel you have done a great job, both Sir Ranjan and also Miss Edda. It's a great contribution to the participants, both from our college and also for the colleges and institutions, from students and participants from other colleges near and far. Thank you once again, all of you. If I've missed anyone, I apologize. And thank you and have a nice day. Take care. Stay safe. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Once again, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much to the participants.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Randolph, can you stop the recording?